Well, I messed up. So, I'm up here on the van earlier and seeing what I need. Get these roof rails up here for the rack. Sure enough, I realize these rails need to be bolted in from the bottom. And my ceiling's up, my cabinets are up, my walls are up, the shower's in. So yeah, I'm gonna have to take down the cabinets, part of the ceiling. I think the worst part is I'm gonna have to tear out the shower ceiling. It's all completely done and everything's caulked in, ready to go, sealed up. So it's gotta be done. Let's go. So I've got one side down, this side's out. You can see I got my shiplap piece off and the ceiling piece, so that'll give me enough room to work there. And I'm going to work on this side next. And then the worst part is in the shower here, I need to get into this section, which means I'm gonna have to tear this whole ceiling out. So not looking forward to that. Alright, so this wall is out, part of the ceiling and wall. This section is torn out, that was fun. And my favorite part, the shower. Next step is to pull the plugs out of each side of the van, and that's where each of the bolts will drop down through, and we'll get them tightened up from the bottom. Alright, so what you're going to want to do is use your heat gun. And just a little scraper or something, and you're just going to heat this up. You don't have to get it super hot or anything, just kind of till the sealant starts to loosen up around the edge. And just kind of pry up on the sides. And pull it up. Use a pair of pliers. Sometimes the tops will pop off and then you can just push the rest of it down through. And then you want to make sure you get the rest of that adhesive off there. So again, just heat it up. And just scrape that off until it's smooth. Now that I have all my plugs out, what I'm going to do is just go around with some acetone on a rag and just kind of clean the rest of the adhesive off those. There's just a little bit left over. You don't need to scrub real hard or use a bunch, just enough to get it cleaned up so it seals good when you put the rails on. So I went ahead and got my tracks together. You just take your black foam strip, attach to the bottom. And then everyone seems to be using butyl tape strips right here where the screws go through. I just use about 1.5 inch piece. Go ahead and stick that on. Leave your paper on there. You'll poke your screw through, and then before you attach them to the roof, you'll just pull your strips of paper off and press it down on there. Real quick, I'm actually putting these on a 170 extended, so what I'm going to do is connect my first two pieces, which will be A and B. You can see there's a little connector here, but for my back pieces, which are the smaller sections that go back here, those are going to be standalone. They won't be attached to the other two pieces, so I don't need to use a connector there. Alright, I've got both the front sections in on each side, A and B. I'm going to go ahead and go down and put some nuts and washers on those, get those tightened up, and then I will work on these back two. I'm gonna have to drill some new holes and thread some of them, so it's gonna take a minute for the back two. I just wanna get these front ones on, make sure everything's good, and we'll go from there. I'm gonna take a 10mm socket on a ratchet and snug these up. Honestly, I don't know how tight to get them. I'm just gonna kind of tighten them up and then go up and check to see how they look, and we'll go from there. On these two back rails, I just used the 3 pre-existing holes in the back. You can see I left that plug in there. So what I did is I just put a screw in there, slid it down those 2 holes, and then went underneath, marked the track on the bottom with just a black marker up through that hole, drilled it out, used a 1/4-20 tap, and threaded my bolt down through there. And I'll tighten it up just like the rest of them. Alright, that is a wrap on the roof rails. What a freaking mess. Lesson definitely learned. Put your roof rails on first before you do anything else. So, yeah. I'm going to work on getting this thing back together. Got a long day ahead of me. So, see you guys in the next video.